Okay, if you're new to Jasper, the first thing I'll say to do is check out Jasper 101 and learn the basics. That's the best thing to do. That's the best thing to do because they've got whole courses. There's a whole Jasper SEO course which talks about how you can use it and make sure your articles are SEO'd and how they use it with Surfer SEO. So I guess it's like a sales. It's a free course, but with an angle to sell the connection between Surfer. They've got a partnership with Surfer SEO, but I don't use it. But I found a lot of good information from their SEO course, and it's free. So on the side here, we've got templates, summarizer, documents, recipes, and Jasper Art. If you have Jasper Art, if not, it will have a little button that says upgrade. But that's a topic for another video. Jasper Art. Maybe it makes sense to put this back over here. Okay, so I'm showing you Jasper, but if you're using any AI tool, this information this information will still stand regardless of the AI tool you're using. They all pretty much work the same as long as they have a long form content editor where you can type, the AI can type, you can type, the AI can type. If your tool doesn't have a feature like boss mode, and it doesn't have things like summarizer, most of them have these templates. It might have something similar, but the content summarizer on Jasper has 12,000 characters, and that has been the true game changer for me. Being able to take these chunks of text, these chunks of data, of research, so you can grab all your research from various places, from your ebooks, from all the places I mentioned in that previous video. You can grab all your information and you can organize it into the subheadings you want to cover, and then you can put those in Summarizer multiple times. So you can put chunks of it in Summarizer to get more out of your bullet points rather than putting the whole text in Summarizer, which is something I need to add to my blog post. You want to take chunks, even though you can maximize it to 12,000 characters. If you've got quite dense research, you don't want to miss anything because it's put it into 7 bullet points. You want to put those chunks, smaller chunks in, so you can get, 7 bullet points of that, and then 7 bullet points of the next thing, 7 bullet points of the next thing. And then you can take those bullet points and then you can put those into paragraph generator and write with that, and then generate more paragraphs based on those more defined bullet points, those more defined research points. So any tool should be able to do it unless your tool doesn't have that summarizer. So, as I said, Google doesn't care. Google shouldn't know. Maybe Google cares, but Google shouldn't know, and so on and so forth. And this tweet by Marie is more proof that it shouldn't matter. Your content should be good. It should be helpful. You should be taking into consideration the person that is landing on your post. Are they getting what they need? Are the on-page elements met? Is your content reader optimized? Has it got the images, the bullet points? Is it formatted and spaced out properly? Does it look good? All of those things come into play. If it's just paragraphs or blocks of AI generated text, you've not edited it, you've not done anything to it. It's just plain raw text where it starts to repeat itself. It starts to get in its way, its pattern, because it's reading from the other sentence and then repeating and repeating and repeating, going off of the previous sentence and previous paragraph. You're going to get a whole lot of junk. So you can't do that. You have to write with it and give it your tone. So I'm an affiliate for Jasper. Every time I say link in the description, if you want to try it out, that's what I'm telling you to do. I'm telling you to click on my affiliate link. And yeah, if you don't want to, all you have to do is go and Google the name of the thing and find the actual their normal page. But if you want to help me out or you found the video useful, you know what to do. My biggest pet peeve: people don't utilize him properly. It's not going to do the work for you. You have to do the work. You have to do the work. It should be AI assisted. And Google takes no issue with my stuff. Until Google goes and does a search for my name specifically and finds all my sites and de-indexes everything because it doesn't like what I'm promoting. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So this image shows how I use Jasper pretty much in most cases. There's a 1, so I've started a new subheading. I've written this paragraph myself. I mainly do this so it senses my tone. It senses my cadence. It senses the flow. It senses the whatever grade level I'm writing at for whatever reason. It picks up if I've used humor. So it analyzes what I've written and then it follows on in the same tone. So that's very important. I never start a subheading and then just press compose. I never do that. Even if I'm continuing on from what Jasper's written, I'll give it a transition word, or I'll give it the first 5-10 words in the sentence, and then I'll let it continue. And to be honest, I probably wrote that paragraph and then done the transition word and then let it continue. Transition words are big. It will keep repeating the same ones. You'll notice with Jasper and probably other AI tools that when it gets to the end of a paragraph, it says, by doing this, blah, 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 blah. Every time I see that, I clear that. I take that away because it's just so, I see it every time it generates a paragraph. And that if I see that on somebody's site, I know they've not bothered to edit their content. They've just used AI and they've not bothered to look at the ends of those paragraphs. And you'll start to see multiple paragraphs that say that conclude with by doing this, blah, 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 blah. A lot of the time it doesn't need that conclusion of a paragraph, and you can change that up anyway. You don't need to write by doing this. You can take away the by doing this, and you can say, if it says by doing this, you ensure that your car always starts. You take away by doing this and you say your car will always start and blah, 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 blah. You just make it your own. You'd make it more human. You'd make it something that doesn't sound like what it's typically used to doing. So there's that. So tip 1 is to create a blog outline from the SERPs. I use either Through, which is a free tool I've spoken about before, or Outranking.io, which is a paid tool. Through you can get, it's not free, it's not completely free. You get 10 free credits every month. And you can look at the SERPs. It makes it really clear for you to look at the SERPs. Grab the data from the pages that are ranking, so it shows you the H2s that they're using, and you can create a content outline, or you can create the base of your content outline based on that. So you can see the top 10, you can see they're all consistently using these H2s. So they're talking about this, they're talking about that. And then you can go into Jasper, build that outline out so you're covering all of those important topics and more. And that's really how that works. They do have more tools. They've got a whole content brief tool. But yeah, so that's one way of doing it. That's a quick way if you have writers and you want to give them, you don't want to just give them the content title. You want to give them more, then you would give them that outline and then they can go and research and build upon that. I give my writers the entire through Google document. So I just download, not Google document, the Excel spreadsheet. So once I get my content, my brief, I'll download it, or once I get the content data back, I'll download it, give it to my writer, and then they can look through it. It's got all the links that they need to research, based on the SERPs, of course. It's got questions. People also ask keyword gap analysis, keywords to include in the content. So it's a very full tool in itself. Outranking.io, which is in the screenshot here, that's a bit more advanced because it's like a combination of Jasper and Surfer SEO. So it gives you the ability to use the AI tool and write, but it takes credit. So you're either going to be paying for a monthly subscription, or if it's still on AppSumo, you can grab the lifetime deal like I did. And the AI can generate a content outline based on the SERPs, and you can edit that outline, add to it. And then once you go to create the document, you'd be creating it in Outranking, and typing with AI. And then on the right, it shows you the score as you would in Surfer SEO. So if you've used Surfer SEO, exactly the same, gives you a score, shows you what you need to be covering, tells you how many images you need to add. So again, what I do, I make an outline, and then I'll put that outline, which is you've now got a data-driven outline, and you give it to Jasper. If you just ask Jasper to make an outline on its own, then it's going to give you what it thinks would be topics to cover. Now, this is good, but you also want to make sure that your article is optimized. So what Google's already rewarding, you want to take a lot of that, and then you want to go a step further. So you want to grab the SERP informed headings, and then you want to add your own headings, and you want to add your people also ask and your FAQs and all of that good stuff to make your article better. Click generate concepts. So this is just more about outranking IO specifically. If you're not going to use that tool, this information is not going to be that helpful for you. But in outranking, you can take your the headings when you're making your AI outline. You can take your headings and you can go a bit further to get more information, and you can generate concepts, you can generate bullet points, of key information or pros and cons, all kinds of different things you can generate for that specific heading. And I like to do that because I can get bullet points in the same way that I would use the content summarizer. You can get bullet points and then put those, once you've got the whole document, you'll have heading, 5 key points about that heading, the next heading, 5 key points about that heading. And then you'll take that full document of subheading, summarized key research or key information, subheading, key information, subheading, key information. You'll take that full document and you'll put that in Jasper, and then you'll build it out with that using the keyword tool, using the Quora answer tool, all the different tools. That's what you'll do. So outline is very important. Other SEO tools, other AI tools that also do this are ScaleNut. I don't know. I think I've done a review. I've done a review on Brainwork, but it doesn't. The last time I checked, it didn't do what ScaleNut and Outranking do. So I think I wouldn't compare Jasper with Outranking because, as I said before, you'd need to. If you're comparing Jasper with Outranking, you'd need to include Surfer SEO because Jasper doesn't take any SERP information. It's not got any information beyond its writing ability. Surfer SEO is where all of that SEO keyword research stuff comes into it. With Outranking, you've got the AI writing and you've got the keyword research. Likewise, with ScaleNut, you've got the NLP, the SERP information, and you've got the AI writing. So because I like the flow of Jasper, I have both Outranking and Jasper. But if I wanted to, I could just max out my AI credits and do it all in Outranking. So Brainwork is another AI writing tool. Done a review on it. Check that out. Giving your AI tool the facts. I've already covered this, so I don't need to go back into that in depth, but this is all about where you're finding your research from and giving that to Jasper so he is not making things up. I can't stress this enough. Letting Jasper write about dates and things like that is a bad idea. You can generate 5 different pieces of based on one bit of information, and he will tell you that in 1996 this happened and this was the cause of this, and then generate it again and he'll say in 1994 this happened and people were outraged, and then he'll generate it again and he'll tell you in 2002 it happened, and he says it with so much confidence. He says it with so much confidence that if you just take that first thing and don't research it, you'll have an inaccurate piece of information. So don't do that. Do your research. Do your own research. Give Jasper the research and let him do what he does best, which is create content around the topic with your research. How to use content summary, the content summarizer tool. If you want to see the tool in action, check that out. If you want to see how well the summarizer works, check that out because I'm not going to go over it again in this video. Use people also ask to add FAQs to your post. Let's start a new document. I realize I'm just running through my post and I'm not actually doing any typing with Jasper. But yeah. Use people also asked to add FAQs to your post. This still works. You can still do it and you still add your people also asked to your content. Add a few of those. 3 or 4 questions would do. You don't need to go overboard with it. You just want to grab some people also ask and you want to answer them in a sentence or 2. If you're trying to grab the snippet, a sentence or 2. You don't have to go overboard with it. This is not the place to be answering paragraph chunks. But if you have already, if you've written about that topic somewhere else, it's not a bad idea to write a small condensed version of the answer and include a link to the page where you've written about it. So you might have an article, why your Mac is dying so quickly, and you might answer it in a sentence and then link over to that article. Harvesting multiple levels of PAA. This is cool. SEO Minion. Head over to Google search and type in SEO Minion and download the free Google Chrome extension. Download the free Google Chrome extension for SEO Minion and you won't be disappointed. Something's wrong with my Google, something's wrong with my computer, but it doesn't show me any more people also are. So luckily, it also works on Mozilla Firefox. So if you've got Firefox, you can do the same thing, get the extension there. And when you search for a question, so how do bugs survive in tornadoes? Type that into Google, and then on the right hand side you can choose PAAs level 2 levels of PAAs, 3 levels, 4 levels, and so on and so forth. I don't think you need to set it to 8 levels and harvest all of that. Plus, for some reason, it says it's going to take 6 hours. You don't need to do all of that. If you're just trying to find a few topics or you're trying to build out a topic cluster, 2-3 levels is fine, maybe 4. But we're just trying to get some PAA questions that you can use in your FAQs, and then you can use Jasper to answer those. So grab those PAAs, look at them, look at the parent question, because you might want to just target the parent question instead. If you look at the snippets, look at who's winning the snippets. You can also find competitors this way, but look at the snippets and then take that over to Jasper, and you can either use the Quora answer tool, because I think that is where a lot of the magic happens with your introduction. If you can do a good job with your introduction and you can draw people in and give them a reason to scroll on past the fold and get into your content, then that's a chunk of the job done. If they go on your page and they're just smacked with ads and then there's bad grammar, the first thing they read, of course they're going to click off. I would click off. I'd go right back to the SERPs and I'd try again and look at the titles and I'd try again. So you want to nail it with your introduction. You want to entice your reader. I think all you're doing with your blog post and in this first section, second section, and I guess all throughout your post is trying to entice the reader to read more. So everything you do, you kind of want to just keep it flowing, and which is where the on-page stuff comes into it, the formatting comes into it, the images comes into it. You want to keep them on the page. So you've got one job, which is to get them to your page and impress Google, and the other job is to keep them on your page and impress the reader, and you need to merge those together. My next tip is to give Jasper the facts. Why is this here? I'm sure I've covered this already. I did, but maybe it's just me getting ahead of myself. I'm just so used to doing all of this that it's already there. Jasper lies very confidently. I've said this. Give him the facts. Give him the facts. In Jasper, in boss mode, there are a few opportunities to give him the facts. So you don't just have to do it in long form editor. You can put some information in the content brief. There are only 600 characters to do this, so you'd want to keep it quite simple. Not much I can say about that. Why does it still say Jarvis? Did I not update? I didn't update this. Didn't update that. Opportunity 2 is above the text. So in boss mode, before you start your article, I mean, not before you start your article, but you can put your H1, so put your title, and then above that you can put some bullet points, so key facts. Jasper will read the text above your heading. If you put key facts, colon, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point, some things that you really want it to cover in the introduction and going forwards, it's going to grab that information. It's going to say, oh, it's going to look and it's going to say, oh, it says key facts. So these are things that I can use because those are key facts. And it's going to grab that information and it's going to use it. But there's only a certain amount of look back that it has. So you can't put that up there and then write thousands of words and it's going to keep referring back to that. So you can't put like all of your research there. That's what the content summarizer is for. You can't put all your research there because it can only look back a certain amount of characters. But that's your second opportunity. And the third, which is the new thing they've added, content summarizer. So educate Jasper. This is how you educate it. It's not, people said it's learning from all the content it writes. I don't know if that's true. I think there's the GPT-3 model and they have infused other models, but I don't know if we're seeing real time machine learning happening with the content that it's writing and the information we're giving it. I've not seen that. There's nothing to suggest that. But when you use content summarizer and you get those bullet points, now you're educating Jasper because you've got fresh data. You've got your own data. You could be out on the field talking to people and say, I spoke to my granddad. He said this, 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 this. Give that to Jasper. Jasper now knows what your granddad said. And Jasper can now write a paragraph based on that. Again, how is Google going to take issue with something like that? It just wouldn't. It wouldn't. And that's not, it can't, how can that be plagiarized? It can't be, that's not plagiarism. There might be strings of text like similarity, but that's with everything. If I write an idiom, that's all over the internet. It's not original content, but that's, the percentage of original content will always, if you're doing it properly and you're using your research, it's always going to outweigh the little phrases and stuff that are used all over the internet. So it doesn't matter. And my final take, use the tools properly. If used correctly, they can help you scale much faster on a lower budget. And that's very important. As you scale up and you start to earn more from your blogs, you can hire more writers. But there are going to be times, well, for me at least, there are times when I find a keyword and I feel like I'm the only person that can do it justice. And I whip out Jasper and we write a hell of an article and I feel good that that article is now on my side. So, yeah, that's it, guys. If you have any questions, do leave them in the comment section. My plan was to do test it out. But I mean, the tool's there. You can go and test it out yourself. I think it's more important that I go through, my guide and keep adding to the guide. So if you've got any ideas or any questions, drop them in the comment. I'll try them out or do my best to add them to the guide with my take on it, I guess. And yeah, that's it.